Greetings from the Void, I'm Tinril, and this video will be a general guide on ancient debris and netherite. What it is, what it's for, and how to get it. Many conclusions will be based on an analysis I've done of several million ancient debris. I have a separate video going over that you can follow from this card or in the video description. Version 120 has just come out, and this information is known to be valid for 118, 119, and 120. Version 120 adds a new requirement for creating netherite gear that doesn't exist for earlier versions. That will be covered a little later, and everything else is still the same for versions before 120. I've tried to segment this video into sensible chapters, so feel free to jump around. No time for stories or to beg for money. Here we go. Alright, let's go over the basics. Netherite gear is an upgrade for diamond gear that was added in version 116. It's made by refining ancient debris. What's ancient debris? It's a rare block that looks like this, most common in the lower regions of the Nether. Techniques to find it will be covered in a little bit more detail later. It's uncommon but not difficult to get. When you find ancient debris, you can smelt it into netherite scraps. 4 netherite scraps can be combined with 4 gold ingots in a shapeless recipe to create a netherite ingot. Version 116 also added bastion remnants, blackstone brick fortresses populated by piglins. There are 4 different styles of these remnants that can spawn: the bridge, the hogland stables, the housing units, and the treasure room. Chests in these remnants can contain ancient debris, netherite scraps, or netherite ingots. All 4 bastion remnant types contain generic chests, but the hogland stables and the treasure room can also contain special chest variants. Generic chests have a 13.5% chance for 1 ancient debris and a 4.5% chance for 1 netherite scrap. Hogland stable chests have a 5.7% chance for 2 ancient debris and a 9.1% chance for 1 netherite scrap. The treasure room chest has a 12.7% chance for 2 ancient debris and a 24.4% chance for 1 netherite scrap. Also, a 42.1% chance for 1 netherite ingot. I'll cover bastion remnants a little bit more later. For versions 119 and earlier, you can simply use a smithing table to add a netherite ingot to a piece of diamond gear and upgrade it to the netherite version. Upgrading diamond gear doesn't remove enchantments, so you don't need to worry about that. If you're in the habit of using an enchanting table on multiple pieces of the same gear, trying to combine them at an anvil, I would do that with the diamond tier and upgrade later, because merging netherite items to combine enchantments would get pretty expensive. If you wanted a full 4-piece armor set and 1 of each of the 5 tools, this would require 35 diamonds and 9 netherite ingots. In version 120 and presumably later, you will need a netherite upgrade smithing template in addition to a netherite ingot and your diamond gear in order to upgrade. This template can be found in Bastion Remnants. All of the Bastion Remnant chest variants have a 10% chance to contain a netherite upgrade smithing template, except for the treasure room, which is guaranteed to have one. Wait, if you're on version 120 and you found a netherite upgrade smithing template, don't use it to make a netherite item. 10% is an incredibly low chance to find one, and if you needed to get them from all Bastion Remnants, that would be a very daunting task. Fortunately, the devs seem to agree. If you have a template, you can make a copy of it with 7 diamonds and a netherrack. Personally, I would keep one in a safe place and only use copies for upgrading my gear. This effectively increases the diamond cost for 1 of everything from 35 diamonds to 98 diamonds. That might seem drastic, but you only need to make a Fortune 3 librarian to make diamonds really trivial. Let's take a look at Bastion Remnants. They're mostly made of polished blackstone bricks. So maybe if we look at the distribution of polished blackstone bricks throughout the Nether, we can get a better idea of where to find them. Here's a chart of that. Okay, so any biome but the basalt deltas and between Y32 and Y80. Unfortunately, that is not very helpful. It seems your best bet is just to hop on a strider and go on an adventure to try and find one. Bastion Remnants can be home to piglins and hoglins. Wearing a piece of gold armor will prevent aggression from normal piglins, but hoglins and piglin brutes will still attack you. Retaliating against a piglin brute can aggro other piglins, so be careful. Messing with any chests or gold also has the potential to aggro nearby piglins. An easy way to remove piglins without becoming a target is simply to melt them with a bucket of lava. By clearing them out, there will be less of an issue later if you somehow upset them. Let's take a look at the netherite items and see what the fuss is all about. The durability increase from diamond to netherite is the same for all of the tools. A 30.1% boost from 1,561 to 2,031. The netherite sword will do 1 extra damage, the pickaxe will break obsidian 1.05 seconds faster, and the axe will break logs 0.05 seconds faster. The upgraded shovel can't break dirt any faster, and the hoe will break skulk 0.1 seconds faster. Basically, the upgrade for tools is all about the extra durability. Looking at the armor, there is a durability increase of 12.1%, the new durability varying for each piece depending on which it is. The defense on the armor is the same as diamond, but each netherite piece additionally gives you 10% knockback reduction. An added bonus of ancient debris and netherite items is that they won't melt in lava. Nine netherite ingots can be combined to create a block of netherite, which could be used to power a beacon. But that's a pretty pointless flex, so you'd need to be really starved for attention to waste any time doing that. You can also combine 8 chiseled stone bricks with a netherite ingot to create a lodestone. A traditional compass will point to spawn in the overworld and uselessly spin around in the nether or the end. By right-clicking a compass on a lodestone, you can attune it so the compass will point to the lodestone. This can also be done in the nether and in the end. Attuned compasses will uselessly spin around if they're in a dimension other than where it was attuned. Now you might think that using a netherite ingot to make a lodestone is a waste, but it's actually pretty beneficial because ancient debris spawns in layers Y6 through Y120 inclusive, and the richest layer is Y16. There's an average of 1.5271 debris per chunk, and 77.76% of chunks contain debris. Those chunks with debris have an average of 1.9638. Ancient debris must be mined with a diamond pickaxe or better, so make sure that you bring one. It's also worthwhile to bring a shovel. You should mine your chunk borders, there's more debris there. Almost every video on debris and tons of comment backseat drivers make this claim, but is it true? The short answer is no. Chunk borders aren't better for finding debris. The long answer, however, is no, they still aren't better. You can just forget that nonsense. This myth is investigated in my debris analysis video if you care to know more, but my conclusion was that the concept of smaller mining profiles being more efficient at revealing blocks than larger profiles has been misattributed to debris and chunk borders. A 2x1 profile additionally reveals 6 blocks, giving a ratio of 1 block mined to 3 blocks revealed. A 2x2 profile reveals an additional 8 blocks, yielding a smaller ratio of 1 block mined to 2 blocks revealed. Expanding this out to a full chunk, that would be 1 block mined to 1.125 blocks revealed. A smaller mining profile is more efficient at revealing blocks than a larger one. Debris and chunk borders have nothing to do with it. You may have also heard debris is more common near gravel. Gravel makes up 0.17% of blocks found around ancient debris. I don't recommend mining it unless it's in your way or you want some. It's been said that debris is the same in every biome. That isn't exactly true. The debris density by biome can be split into 3 groups. First, the Soul Sand Valley has the lowest density of debris. Second, the Nether Wastes, Warped Forest, and Crimson Forest all contain around 12% more debris than the Soul Sand Valley. Third, the Basalt Deltas contains around 6% more debris than the Nether Wastes, Warped Forest, and Crimson Forest. Basalt Deltas might have the highest concentration of debris, but 86% of Y15 to 16 in the Basalt Deltas is basalt and blackstone, and 6.9% is lava. Basalt and blackstone have more than 3 times the hardness of netherrack, so a potential 6% increase in debris compared to the mid-tier biomes will not balance out the increased mining times. That means the best biomes are the Nether Wastes, Warped Forest, and Crimson Forest. You can additionally consider the possible enemies that can spawn in each biome as a reason to prefer one over the others, though if you're looking to upgrade to Netherite, these enemies should be trivial. Debris can spawn in groups up to size 3. I call these clusters. Here's a table from my analysis video showing the frequency for each cluster size. Smaller clusters can end up close enough together to form larger size 4 to 6 clusters. 58.83% of debris is connected to more debris, so it's important to make sure you check for additional debris beyond what you initially find. 59.31% of the time, extra debris will be connected at a face, like this. When you mine it, any debris connected at a face will be visible. Debris can also be connected at an edge or a corner. These latter two cases will make up 40.69% of additional debris, potentially being hidden relative to the original debris. Should you mine all the way around every debris that you find to make sure you don't miss any connected debris? If you imagine a 3x3 cube with debris in the center, removing any 2 layers of blocks will expose that final layer, so you can see if it's debris or not. There's no need to remove this final layer. Using the average debris per chunk and the vertical distribution of debris percentages, a model can be used to compare different mining profiles. This is explored more fully in my debris analysis video. If the best 2 Y levels to mine through are Y15 and 16, here's a representation showing how mining a full chunk compares to mining a single 2x1 tunnel. The gray cells represent a mined tunnel and the blue blocks represent revealed blocks around the tunnel. If you mine a full chunk, it would take an estimated 949 to 1025 blocks mined for each debris. A single 2x1 tunnel will have a better ratio of mined to revealed blocks and only needs an estimated 492 to 532 blocks. Mining a 2x1 tunnel is the most efficient way to mine for debris, requiring around 48% less blocks mined compared to mining an entire chunk. This 2x1 mine can be tiled horizontally. This offers better coverage between lakes of lava compared to just mining a single tunnel forever. Can we do better than this though? My preferred mining profile is this, offsetting the 2x1 tunnel horizontally and stacking one on top of the other. This profile can also be tiled and compared to a string of 2x1 tunnels will reveal 6.58% more potential debris for only 22 to 23 more blocks mined per debris. This stacked profile will reveal 100% of debris through Y15 and 16, 75% of debris through Y14 and 17, and 25% of debris through Y13 and 18. With an estimated work requirement of 514 to 555 blocks mined per debris, this profile performs pretty well. I've tried many different profiles, beds, and TNT. I always come back to this stacked profile and it never disappoints. To make one of everything with 9 netherite ingots would require mining an estimated 17,712 to 19,144 blocks if you're just doing the 2x1 tunnels through Y15 and 16. Or an estimated 18,505 to 19,972 blocks mined if you're using the stacked 2-level mining profile. At this volume, the extra connected debris found beyond the profile models will probably make up a significant bonus, so you should expect to do better than these estimates. I spent a lot of time exploring explosives. I'll attempt to summarize everything I've learned here, but keep in mind that these will be average estimates you should still be able to compare. I generated large areas of netherrack and then blew them up with hundreds of explosives in multiple distributions with varying depths and widths for placement. I filled the exploded tunnels with different colors of wool and then parsed the worlds to get an accurate count of the explosive impact by Y level. Similar to the mining profiles, I built models to approximate the revealed debris with the explosions. While the mining profiles were exact and linear, the explosions are somewhat random and have a spherical shape, so the models use the average width for each Y level, include the revealed debris around the edges, and in cases where there's a large step up or down, account for the additional revealed debris that would be exposed by a larger ledge. I thought that using end crystals to find debris was a joke, but it seems mentioned enough that I decided to evaluate them with the other explosives, so let's start with them. The data for this model is based on end crystals with 12 blocks of separation, so there's no overlap for the explosion. End crystals are expensive and I wouldn't suggest using them, but if you're going to, they need to be placed on obsidian, and then that obsidian needs to be removed or it will prevent almost half of the explosion from even occurring. Make sure to remove a block in front of the obsidian so that you can actually target it. You don't want to hit the end crystal and kill yourself. You can then shoot it with a bow or throw a trident at it from a safe distance. With 12 spacing between end crystals, that works out to 1.2 end crystals per chunk, estimated to reveal about 33.27% of potential debris when placed on Y16. This would create an estimate of about 2.42 end crystals per debris. Debris at the edge of the explosion radius is likely to often be connected to more debris, so I'll create a lower bound by reducing the upper bound by 16%. This then gives us an estimate of 2 to 2.4 end crystals per debris as an average. This would be about 72 to 86 end crystals for 9 netherite ingots. Expensive, and a lot of time spent removing obsidian. For the horizontal placement of end crystals, just maintain the same 12 spacing. For beds, I decided to move forward with 7 spacing between them, and I'll start by showing how I personally set up beds. Have or start a 2x1 tunnel at Y16 and dig a hole in the ground at the end. Mine 9 blocks deep. Dig another hole. Repeat this process for the number of beds that you want to put in your string. When you're done, mine 4 blocks extra after the final hole. Backtracking, simply place a bed 1 block after the hole, put a cobblestone above the foot of the bed, and then a cobblestone wall in front of the bed. Repeat this for the entire string. To begin, put an enchanting table in the hole and stand on it. You'll be blowing up these beds at point-blank range. The wall has a collider that's 1.5 blocks high and is thinner than a full block, so it gives you access to explode the bed while providing additional protection. The enchanting table won't be destroyed by the bed because it has obsidian level hardness, so it saves you from occasionally falling into fire, and it's quickly picked up and carried to the next bed. If the mined enchanting table flies into fire, it will be destroyed, so be careful. Moving on, without any armor at all, you'll only take half a heart of damage from the bed explosion on hard, and you usually won't take any damage at all on normal. You should still bring food with you though to stay topped off, and it's also a good idea to bring a bucket to scoop up floating lava sources because it's easier than trying to block them in while they're floating in the air. With 7 spacing between beds, that works out to 1.78 beds per chunk and gives us this model to work with. 31.1% of potential debris will be revealed, requiring around 3.75 beds per debris. Reducing this by 12% for a lower bound, we get 3.3 to 3.75 beds per debris as an average estimate. This would be around 119 to 135 beds for 9 netherite ingots. Horizontal spacing between lanes of beds should be 10. This results in no overlap of the explosion and no overlap of the exposed edges. For TNT, I'll be focusing on 4 block spacing between them so that they can chain react and ignite themselves, even though it's not the most efficient. This is the most entertaining way to use TNT, and I think it's what most people will want to do. It does create a high level of overlap between the explosions though, so keep that in mind. When a TNT ignites, it can bounce and shift a little, so the chain reaction might actually fizzle out like a bad firework, and you could have to relight it, maybe more than once. I think that this is an acceptable trade-off versus putting them closer together to use even more TNT. 4 spacing between TNT works out to 3.2 TNT per chunk, and here's the model for the explosive analysis. Around 31.62% of potential debris is revealed when placed in Y16 and set up in this way. This gives us an estimate of about 6.63 TNT per debris, and reducing that by 8% for a lower bound, we get 6.1 to 6.63 TNT per debris as an average estimate. This gives us about 220 to 239 TNT for 9 netherite ingots. Horizontal spacing between the lanes of TNT should also be 10. This results in no overlap of the explosion or the exposed edges. Keep in mind that all these calculations were for explosions in 100% netherrack, which isn't what you would actually experience. Non-netherrack blocks will have more hardness, and that will have a dampening effect on the explosion magnitude. You also can't look at the estimated work and expect that up front. If you placed a string of 20 TNT and found 0 debris, this could just be averaged out with the discovery of 6 debris with the next 20 TNT, which isn't that unreasonable. Just like mining, you need to put in an acceptable level of effort before expecting any average returns. The explosive impact of an end crystal is 743 netherrack. One bed from a string spaced 7 apart is 466 netherrack, and 1 TNT from a string spaced 4 apart is 258 netherrack. Considering a diamond pickaxe, we can convert these volumes of netherrack into mining times to get roughly this. Generally, this seems to be what people consider when saying explosions are better than mining, the high level of destruction from the explosion. Explosions, however, are spherical, uniform horizontally and vertically. Ancient debris distribution is not vertically uniform though. We know it has a peak and it drops off, moving away from that, and the drop-off can be significant. We can use the models that we made for explosions and mining to compare directly how they relate to finding debris. For example, 3.2 TNT from a string spaced 4 apart uncovers about 31.6244% of debris, giving us 9.88% of debris for a single TNT. Mining a 2x1 tunnel through one chunk uncovers about 3.94% of debris and consists of mining 32 blocks. 9.88 is 2.51 times 3.94, so we can multiply 32 blocks by 2.51. And then we can say that 1 TNT is about equivalent to mining 80 blocks of netherrack. Here's a table showing all of those calculations and the mining times for all the explosion types. You can see that when considering debris, a fair comparison between mining and explosions is actually around 30% of the full explosive impact. This makes sense because mining is surgical and explosions aren't. There are diminishing returns on the explosive removal above and below the origin the further away it gets. There are 2 other things to consider when trying to compare explosions to mining. The first is mostly for end crystals, but will have a small impact on beds and TNT as well. Additional mining required. For beds and TNT, this is just clearing the tunnels to place them. For end crystals, this would include the removal of obsidian. To penalize the explosions, I'll just reduce the mining time estimate by the additional mining time that is being ignored for the explosions. Here's a table showing that. An end crystal is about equivalent to 71 seconds of mining netherrack, a bed is equivalent to 50 seconds, and a TNT is equivalent to 29 seconds. The raw TNT explosion was 258 blocks, and the fair comparison brings that down to 70. So the raw impact where debris is concerned is overinflated by about 369%. The end crystal is also brought down so that it's only 1.4 times that of a bed. Hopefully this helps convince you that it's just silly to use end crystals. Second, enchanting your diamond pickaxe with efficiency 2. This will allow the instant mining of netherrack. This will change all of the time estimates and needs another table, which you can see here. An end crystal is about 17 seconds of mining netherrack, a bed is about 14 seconds, and a TNT is about 8 seconds. So what's better, mining or explosions? My answer to that is you do you. Whatever makes you happy, even if it's using end crystals. If you have the materials, it's better to use them than to just keep them in storage forever. That said, I think that mining with even a regular diamond pickaxe is sufficiently competitive against the explosions. If you want to do a lot of mining though, it's definitely in your best interest to get at least efficiency 2 on your pickaxe. And there you have it. Hopefully you found this video both condensed enough and yet informative enough to help you out on your netherite journey. I've spent significantly more time researching this stuff than is at all reasonable. If I can shave off even a few minutes of your tedious plunge into this grind, I consider my work here a success. If you like data and numbers, be sure to check out my ancient debris analysis video. Later.